As we just heard, AI has a very clear potential benefits for society, but at the same time poses serious potential challenges. Can you identify, if possible, the single most important benefit and the single most important serious challenge that AI poses?
Good morning, distinguished colleagues in science and also our guests. So I'm Kaien Dong. I'm a young faculty member of Tsinghua University. So I would like to answer this question based on my personal experience with young scholars, young graduate students in my group. Well, to me, the best thing about AI is about in education. I still remember the day when I was a young PhD student. I was asked to learn the roadmap of one single technology in order to get prepared to do innovative research. And I spent days, even months, reading hundreds of papers, just try to understand everything, tracing date back to 18th century all the way to the papers published yesterday. Well, it was painful and time-consuming. But now we see large language models. They may help us collect papers and generate a short report including all the key notes of the papers. And my students, well, they are able to grasp new knowledge in a short period, much faster than me years ago. So I think it accelerates the speed of education so that we do not need to spend lots of time in learning something old. And I would like also to mention something about research. I totally agree with Professor Levitt about the speed of the research we do today. Well, when I was in UC Berkeley, our pulse laser deposition tool is far away from material characterization tool, so I need to walk up the hills and then do pulse laser deposition for hours to get thin films done, and then walk down hills to do the characterization. Well, I can only do 3 thin films in one day. So, but now we are trying to speed it up. I want my students to avoid from suffering what I suffered before, so we are trying to connect robots with the thin film deposition tool so that students can sit in the office while monitoring what is going on in the lab. And also AI agent may also be able to help increase the quality of the thin films. So to me, the best thing about the AI is it accelerates almost everything in education and research. The challenge, on the other hand, may be the students, well, they trust AI too much. Well, I found one mistake from my student. I asked, why you made that mistake? He told me, it's by the AI. They told me this value should be this number. But AI has some illusions, right? But students, they are young. They may not understand that. They just be too lazy to try to think about it themselves. So I'm just concerned about that. In the future, maybe students may rely on AI too much. Are they tools of AI or AI tools of them? I don't know. And I heard about some conferences are trying to introduce AI in evaluating submissions, like during the peer review process. So maybe in the future, can AI really evaluate our innovative submissions and our new work based on the previous knowledge? I have no idea about that, but I think it's a challenge. And to take a step forward, how about AI will evaluate and rate our research proposals for funds? I don't know if it will happen or not, but I'm just concerned about AI will determine the future scientific development of the society. It may not happen, it may happen. I have no idea for now, so that is the challenge to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Stuart, please, your thoughts?
Okay, first I'll say a couple words of introduction. I'm Stuart Haber, and I'm in a position a bit like Whit Diffie a few minutes ago. I'm here at this event for some work I did a while ago, not quite as long ago as Whit's work, but not so recently, in the field of cryptography, which may or may not prepare me to say anything particularly intelligent about AI. But I'll try a few words. The biggest benefit, as indeed we've heard from several different points of view, is improved science and technology. The AI helps all of us as scientists and engineers to do our work, and it's hard to predict what this may do decades hence, but we've already heard about a bunch of examples in medicine, and I look forward to seeing what happens. The biggest challenge is, again, of course, improvements in science and technology, which can be used for all sorts of nasty purposes. But a particular challenge that progress in AI worries me is the great proliferation of deep fakes, scams, poisoning our social environment, and our shared notion of truth. A poisoning that it is so bad that much of the world no longer shares our desire for truth that underlies most of the science, well, all of the science done by people in this room. We can't even, as a population, agree on which way is up. That's worrisome.
Well, thank you very much, Stuart. You said that you may not be qualified. I'm thinking about myself, qualified, and I shatter. So we'll move anyways with this, and we'll move to the next question, which is, given the impact of AI, is there a need for global regulations in order to harness the AI revolution and contain its potential damage or challenges to society? If so, can you suggest what might be this type of regulation? I may add, we all know that AI is changing so fast that we don't actually even know what's the nature of AI in a few years from now. So to suggest regulations for that is difficult. But this is why you are here, to try to do it anyway. So please do.
Thank you for this insightful question, and they're also really tough. Well, so I think scientists are kind of romantic. We like uncertainties. Well, uncertainty will born new inventions. So I used to read some science fictions about the wasteland or cyberpunk, and I'm just too concerned about that future to come in like 100 years. So my answer, I'm not this field of expertise, but yeah, my answer should be yes. We should set some right lines based on some common agreements. But since different countries and different regions may have different situations, so the details may vary from case by case. So that's my answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Stuart, please.
So I would agree that there definitely is a need for global cooperation in regulating AI. This should be an international effort. Unfortunately, these days, international cooperation is not the it's in trouble. I don't have anything to offer on that, but fortunately, there is something that technology can provide, namely the use of cryptographic tools to provide proofs of provenance. This is to face the problem I mentioned earlier of our deepfakes, scams, notions of truth. The blockchain, as I can speak from firsthand experience, was invented not to create money, but to provide proofs of integrity for digital records, to enable users of digital records to verify that they have not been changed since they were created or registered. I did this work with my fellow inventor, who's here in the audience, Scott Stornetta, and he and I have a new project that we call SureMark, which is meant to fight deepfakes by adding a layer of verifiable, unforgeable social identity on top of the current internet. I will not describe this in great detail now, but that is a use of technical tools. In fact, the main technical tool is due to Whit Diffie, digital signature, and his co-authors, digital signatures, to establish provenance for digital records.
Thank you very much. This, by the way, this question is really difficult, not just because we don't know what shape AI will take in the near future and in the longer term future, but it's also because it's a long process. It reminds us maybe that when there are major revolutions, it may take decades to take care of some of its ramifications. The Industrial Revolution, it takes the humanity decades to try to overcome some of its problems, and I'm sure that the same thing will happen here. It shouldn't stop us from trying already now to do that. And as maybe Stuart said, perhaps the single most important thing that we need to keep is fact-checking, just making sure that facts are facts and not the way the world is looking on right now. It's a challenge that I hope we'll be able to overcome. I'm going now to move to a strange topic, because we most of the time talk about the function of AI, its goals, its problems with the goals. But AI already has an emotional aspect to it. Michael Levitt just mentioned that it moved from being helper to assistant to being a colleague, and who knows what's going to be in the future. Now, with that respect, it might also have emotional aspects to it as well, and I'm going to ask you to speculate about that. And here's the question. Can you speculate about the impact of AI on social life? Will there be relationships between AI-based entities and humans? And if so, is it good, bad, neutral? And lastly, but it's important too, will it affect social relationships between humans? The fact that we have also relationships with AIs or AI-like robots. Please.
Thank you. Another difficult question. Well, let me give one example here. Let's see. When I express my opinions, so some people who agree with me may like me, while others may dislike me due to my expressions. So what if I say my previous two answers were generated by large language models? Of course not. I'm just giving one hypothetical example. So if I did that and the people judged my opinions based on my answers generated by AI, so this is, I think, is a good example that AI does affect my social life. Because I use answers from AI and people judge me based on my answers, they don't know if I use AI or not. So in the future, as I observed, the younger generations, they grew up with AI helpers, with language models installed in their cell phones. So they naturally, I guess, they will naturally trust AI answers in making decisions. And in that way, I think their social relationships will be largely, at least, affected by AI. Well, is it good or bad? It's hard to say. But considering that we have been fight through so many challenges in the past thousands of years, and we have seen many technological revolutions, and we always finally come up with a way to make use of them to help the development of our society. So I'm really optimistic about the future, and we can make good use of AI, and we can get better in the future worldwide. Thank you.
Thank you. Stuart, please.
So it's hard to speculate on this question. I don't have too much to say about social, about interacting with technological entities as social beings. Maybe that is because I'm too much of an old fogey, and I haven't played with them like the younger generation. Will it change? I do not expect AI to change human nature. It will give us new tools to do new sorts of things, but I don't think will change human nature in essential ways. But we'll see.
Well, I'll just add to it, as someone that dealt with memory, among other things, people's use of memory changed over time. Nowadays, we don't have to remember phone numbers. We don't have to do a lot of things. Some of the facts, we just have to look. If AI doesn't interrupt, we have to look and see elsewhere for the facts. But it hasn't really, as far as we know, changed the structure of the brain or the structure of the brain memory capabilities. It does affect behavior. And I wonder if, in that respect, not in terms of changing our nature, but in changing our social behavior, would it happen?
Well, the fact that we are here in this room is something we could only do as a result of some centuries of technological development. The AI is another set of tools that will, if we don't blow up the whole planet, will bring new things.
I guess I'm going to leave at least one option from the people that listen. If anyone wants to say something, then we'll have one such comment. Anyone?
Yeah.
Please.
A number of people, I should say, this is Bill Phillips, I'm an atomic physicist. A number of people have mentioned that AI can be very useful in allowing a lot of research in a short amount of time, but that one needs to be careful, that the students in particular need to be careful they don't trust the AI too much, which means that you have to do some of your own research to make sure that what the AI said is consistent with reliable information. Now, I would imagine that all of you think that the balance between saving a lot of time on the initial research and having to spend some additional time verifying that the AI isn't hallucinating is still on the positive side, that it's still better to start with the AI. But what I'm wondering is, do you think that when you've achieved that advantage, that you have as much confidence about the reliability of the research compared to if you'd done it yourself?
Well, maybe it's a good question to have with us. You know, as scientists, we always believe that eventually converging evidence from different aspects will help us decide. That's how we always did it, and that's how I hope we'll do it with AI as well. So I'm going to conclude this panel. I'll just remind all of you that at 1 o'clock we convene again to a question that is related but perhaps even more functional. Can AI discover anything? We'll hear about it at 1. Thank you all very much.